In brightest day, in blackest night, all other podcasts tremble in fright. Losers cower before the power. Oranges lust and blues you can trust. Indigos feel and white ones heal. Yellows scare and green ones dare. That sapphire love and black hands glove will rock your foundation without hesitation. Chad and Marge face evil's might. Respect their power, for they'll make you see the light. Hi, everybody. I'm Chad Bokelman.
I'm Mark Marble.
And this is the LanternCast.
Episode 338.
That's right. We're talking about several things. We're going to talk about the first issue of Justice League Odyssey, which just came out and features Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern. And then we're going to talk about a few other things. We're going to talk about the Dark Phoenix trailer. We're going to talk a bit about some news and some other comic information we recently stumbled on here and there. We're going to do a piece of feedback. We finally got a piece of feedback. Woohoo! Thank you, Laurel. And, Mark wanted to talk about some streaming stuff on Netflix. So we're going to do all that now. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so Justice League Odyssey #1. I'm assuming I'm recapping this.
You are assuming correct.
All right,
unless you have a problem with it, because I could do it if you don't want to do it.
That's all right. Excuse me if I cough or clear my throat or something. I think I think my allergies are starting to catch up with me, because all season long so far, I've seen other people complaining about their allergies, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's finally happened. Maybe I've evolved. Yeah, maybe I've evolved out of my allergies, because people say allergies change during the span of your life. So it's like, maybe I got lucky. Maybe they're gone. They're gone forever. And then I sneezed like 47 times today. So
the fall,
forgive me. It's coming in full force.
Yeah, the fall is tough. I've for the last couple of weeks I've noticed I've had more fluid in my left ear, so I've been taking more of the knockoff Nasacort and stuff, and some decongestants, not too many, because I have to go for my physical, so I don't want to get my blood pressure going, affect my blood pressure. But yeah, it's this time. I love the fall, but yes, from an allergy perspective, obviously the early part of the fall is not good.
True. All right, so we are talking about Justice League Odyssey. Now, before we get into it, I have to give you guys a brief history lesson, relatively recent history lesson.
Which is why I preferred you to do the recap, honestly, for this, because you're a little more up to date on some of the stuff leading to this series, I think. Right.
So, during the backstory for Justice League Odyssey technically goes all the way back to DC Metal. Now, what happens is during the events of DC Metal at the end, after they defeat Barbados and the whole threat to the dark multiverse and encroaching on us and blah, 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 the results of this put a crack in the source wall, which is no good, as you can imagine. As a result of this crack, 4 beings are released called the Omega Titans. Now, the Omega Titans have something, I'll explain that in a second, but just know the Omega Titans aren't the only thing, the only threat is resulting from the crack in the source wall. This is going to be this sort of ongoing thing that's going to be happening in the DCU. And the 4-issue Justice League No Justice series was created to explain and deal with these 4 Omega Titans, and out of the end of this story comes your Justice League Dark, your Justice League Odyssey, You're going to be getting Batman and the Outsiders pretty soon. That is also a result of that. So this is going to be an ongoing thing in the DCU. But we're talking Justice League Odyssey, so let's focus here. Brainiac comes to Earth during No Justice and recruits a team to take care of these Omega Titans. And he recruits both heroes and villains. So, as he splits everybody up into various teams, into 4 teams, each team meant to deal with a specific Omega Titan. Before he does this, he explains it. And I've taken a screenshot of his explanation so I can read it to you and sort of catch you up on what these Omega Titans are. And from Justice League No Justice, I believe issue 1, Brainiac says, the oldest beings in the universe share a myth, older than civilization, older than language. A myth of 4 brothers, impossibly powerful cosmic gods, each embodying one of the fundamental energies of sentient life. They were called the Omega Titans: entropy, wisdom, wonder, and mystery. Each believed their core energy to be the dominant power of intelligent life. To prove themselves right, they planted seeds of cosmic energy in world after world. At the end of the universe, the story said that they would return to the civilizations that grew over the eons, weigh which energy was supreme, and the winning brother would reabsorb that world. The dying universe is a garden to be eaten by its observers. So, the 4 Omega Titans have returned. They're trying to judge loosely, measure more accurately the worlds that they've implanted their seeds in. Again, entropy, wisdom, wonder, and mystery are their names. Entropy, turns out, he planted his energy in our planet, on planet Earth. Side note, this is why Lex Luthor has now switched from being hero like he was for a while back to being villain. He sees that the fundamental nature and the energies of Earth is entropy, so what's the point? Essentially. But that's neither here nor there. It has not much to do with this story. At the end of No Justice, they take a bunch of this cosmic energy, plant it in this seed, as the Omega Titans are all hovering around Earth, getting ready to absorb it, Green Lantern creates a construct to launch this seed. He launches it, and it goes into entropy, the Omega Titan entropy, and not being able to resist this power, this energy. His other 3 brothers consume him, and then poof, they're all gone. Now, as a result of all of this, there's all this random energy in the universe now. There's the source wall is broken. And before the Omega Titans showed up to Earth, they killed Kalu, which is Brainiac's homeworld. So Brainiac 2, Brainiac 5, all the Brainiacs, Kalu is now gone. And where Kalu was is this storm of Omega Titan crazy energy. And that brings us to Justice League Odyssey. Now, let's see here. Do I have a title page, or I'll just get to that later? Yeah, it looks like it's further along in the story. No, here we go.
I think it's a splash page.
Yeah, here we go. Joshua Williamson is the writer. Stefan Sejic is the artist and cover. Deron Bennett, letters. Terry and Rachel Dodson, variant cover. Rob Levin, associate editor. Rebecca Taylor, editor. And Mary Javins, group editor. And this is called Ghost Sector Part 1. What happens is we open up with our prologue, and I'm just going to read this out here. It says, "Behold the Ghost Sector. Hundreds of dormant worlds once held prisoner on Kalu, now unleashed on an unsuspecting universe." Kalu had a bunch of shrunken worlds and cities and so on and so forth. They've all now been unleashed. Worlds that should never have been freed. The terrified souls trapped on these worlds battle for survival and shout at the heavens to their old gods. "Why have you abandoned us? Why is this happening? Why us?" But one refugee from Kalu knows the horrifying truth. And we see a Green Lantern and what looks to be a Kaluan speaking before she goes off in a ship to deliver his message to the Guardians of the Universe. The Guardians have to know why these worlds were hidden before the entire multiverse is lost. On her way, she's trying to pray and plead that she makes it in time, but she is attacked by a creature. Her ring has no charge, of course, and as she dies, her ring floats off and then shatters itself. We find that the Ghost Sector is being protected by Jessica Cruz. And Jessica Cruz has been assigned this by both the Guardians and technically the Justice League themselves as well. Some agent out there to keep an eye on this. And the order from the Guardians is to let no person enter the Ghost Sector. She is being observed as all this happens, and she has an incoming call from Earth, which is Simon checking in on her. And as everything goes crazy, she loses the signal and sees a ship flying towards the maelstrom of the Ghost Sector, and it's Brainiac's ship, piloted by Cyborg and Starfire. Of course, she doesn't know this. She just sees Brainiac's ship flying into the sector. She goes to try and stop them, and gets attacked by the radiation of the sector. She doesn't really know that her ring constructs are incapable of withstanding this level. So a tether is attached to Starfire. She goes out to grab Jessica. They have a flirty moment. I enjoyed it because I like Starfire. And then she sees that Cyborg is a part of all this. But before she can get too mad, some massive space serpent creature things are on their tail. So Jessica lights up and protects the ship with her energy as she can. And I forgot to mention Azrael's a part of this. I really don't have much history or personally much like for the character of Azrael. That's why I don't really want to expound too much on it.
Do we know when they actually brought back Jean-Paul Valley as Azrael?
It might just be a factor of New 52 / Rebirth.
I think it has to be Rebirth because I'm pretty sure he wasn't the Azrael in the New 52.
Okay.
But I was kind of surprised. I mean, I was hoping once we found out it was Azrael, but obviously in the story they make it clear that's exactly the Azrael that it is. Plus he refers to himself being the agent of the Bat, which of course predates the New 52 because that's what Azrael's title was. That's what his book title was before it hit issue 100 or whenever it got finally canned. So I was kind of pleasantly surprised. Because I do have some ties to I think I have that entire series of Azrael, so I do kind of I'm kind of glad they brought him back. But sorry.
No worries. It gave me time to reread a couple of panels so I can recap this slightly better. So while Jessica is protecting the ship, Azrael links into the system and is going to help guide them. Then. He says, Cyborg says his mother box is still connected to the ship, but Starfire needs you to give me an extra power boost. So the mother box plus Azrael plus the power given to Cyborg being fired from Starfire into Cyborg and Jessica powering the shield around their ship gets them through the initial maelstrom into the Ghost Sector, whereupon they crash on a world. And Jessica freaks out and asks for an explanation, which I'll read here. She says, you all could have died, which might still happen since the Guardians are going to kill you for breaking into the Ghost Sector, and they're going to kill me for letting you. What were you thinking? Starfire apologizes, says we need to keep moving. Our mission is one of life and death. Why didn't the League tell me they were sending you? And Cyborg says, because this isn't a League mission, Jess. We're on our own. You got to understand this is a moving train. I'm not asking you to jump on, and really, it might be best if you went home. And she says, it isn't as easy as hitchhiking. It took all of us to get here. You and me, Stone, we're not just teammates, we're friends. You owe me an explanation, starting with, where are we? He says, when Kalu was destroyed, my mother box was still plugged into its artificial intelligence database. Since then, I've searched all the files trying to find answers about why the Kaluans shrunk and hid these worlds. There is no order to how they were released. It's total chaos. It's like nothing my scanners have ever seen. She says, you have no idea where we are? Pretty much. Cyborg, I need answers. She says, Starfire says, we all do, Jessica. Those monsters, they might not be able to escape the maelstrom itself, but we should leave quickly. And Azrael says it's time to tell the truth. So Cyborg explains, he says, not long after Kalu fell, my mother box started to receive a signal. But this wasn't just a normal ping. It was louder. It's like an urge. I've never felt anything like it. The Justice League knew this place was dangerous, that it was the Wild West. That's why they sent you to keep watch. But every fiber of my being told me to come here. I couldn't say no if I wanted. It was around that same time I started to hear the voice, which is what Azrael says. And I felt the need to come here, but it was never a voice or anything, just a responsibility. And then Starfire says, when these worlds were freed, I wanted to go home to Tamaran, lost somewhere in this system. But it was more than that. I felt at home on Earth. I had friends, I had family, but I followed my heart. There was a piece of me I felt as if the goddess Gazal herself was telling me to come here, that I had to. So Cyborg and I sacrificed everything to come to the Ghost Sector. And now that we are here, we must know why. And then she's attacked by a rock monster, which gets summarily dismissed and dismantled by two twin, seemingly chaotic beams of energy, as someone says, I know the answers you seek, Tamaranian, because I called you here. You three, Cyborg, Starfire, and Azrael, you search for answers to your purpose in the universe. I am the answer. Your place is here with me, as Darkseid walks onto the scene. He says that ever since you merged with my mother box, you and I have been bonded, Cyborg. I know you have searched for the meaning of your existence. I knew I could trust you to get all of you here. It's imperative that you trust me. When my father was Lord of Apocalypse and waged war with New Genesis, he used to tell me of a prophecy. I thought it was just intended to frighten me, but after the crack in the source wall, I knew it was true. These worlds were hidden for a reason. Someone wanted the knowledge of these worlds hidden because of the old gods they worshipped. For thousands of years, the souls here have prayed to them for their return. And now they have. You three are the old gods. It's your destiny to save the Ghost Sector. I call the goddess, the machine, and the angel to finally bring forth a new age of the multiverse. And next, hero worship. Sorry for all the reading. What did you think?
It was interesting.
Yeah, let it be said, this is the new Darkseid.
Yeah, this is the supposed to be a good guy Darkseid until he isn't, like Lex Luthor probably.
Yeah.
until puberty hits and he goes back to his normal ways.
Right. I really enjoyed it. I actually really like the art. I don't know how you felt about it, but I particularly enjoyed the art.
I think it fits the story. I don't necessarily know if the style is my style, generally speaking, but I think it suits the story, so I think it's good on that level.
Right. So, what did you think of the premise itself, though?
It has me intrigued about how they could possibly be the old gods.
Right. Because it does show. I read Darkseid's dialogue, but it does show that people on these other worlds are worshiping images and visages of Azrael, of Cyborg, and of Starfire. So, carved out of stone and such. What do you think of the team?
It certainly is an eclectic group of characters.
Yeah, see,
I mean, from Cyborg, I guess Cyborg and Starfire, I guess aren't not so much because you have your Titans tie, but Azrael, obviously it's hard to think of Azrael playing nice with anybody, even in the Bat family, but certainly outside the Bat family. And Jessica obviously has ties with Cyborg through the Justice League too. So I guess it's not the most obscure teaming of all time, but it's certainly if you're trying to sell a book, this is certainly not the A team of characters you'd throw together. You would think.
No, it makes me wonder what DC thinks of this title. Now, obviously, if sales change for a title, if it suddenly this one starts going through the roof, obviously DC will go, well, let's figure out how to keep this train moving. But they have to be able to sense what you just said as easily as you just did. So I wonder what they have planned for this. Is it if this book survives past this initial arc and into another one, how much scrutiny is it going to be under to perform before it's finally canceled? Or how much is the roster going to change?
Sounds like questions we've said a lot about Green Lantern books over the past 3 or 4 years at least. I would, and much like those books, I mean, I would kind of think even more so, actually. Clearly, this book exists to tell a story. Now the question is, I don't know how long this arc is supposed to be, the initial arc, but because it doesn't tell you on the splash page, like 1 of 12 or 1 of 6 or whatever. I like the Ghost Sector. Lord knows we've gotten something between the Lost Sector, the Ghost Sector. Even though this makes sense based on how this is now why there is a Ghost Sector, if you will. So I think the book, it primarily at the moment exists to bridge the gap and to tell a story they need told, and then anything after that might be gravy. So you would kind of now is this monthly or is this bi-weekly?
It's monthly.
Monthly. So you probably figure, to be fair, this book has at least a year, barring a huge going into the toilet. You would think they probably would give this book probably a year, 10 issues minimum. You would think. So who knows? This you would kind of suspect this arc has got to be a decent size arc. So I don't know. If you had to bet money, what do I think this book would survive? Long term, no. But look how Green Lanterns lasted. Actually, I don't know if Green Lanterns lasted that much longer than we thought. We think they had a vested interest in keeping that book afloat. But still, it's only going to be about 4.5 years. Well, actually, it'll be less than that, right? Because it was bi-weekly. The number of issues would be the equivalent of like 4.5 years. But so you got to divide that in half. I don't know. I'd say the over/under on this book surviving probably is about maybe a year and a half, barring a change. But again, like we said, we don't know if this book if they really intend this book or they think it's likely from the inception for this book to survive. Because we know in the past, they greenlight a lot of books that everybody in the world knows ain't gonna last.
Right.
So there. But
I'd be interested to see. I mean, don't get me wrong. I actually really like the way Jessica's written here. I mean, she tells Cyborg that they're friends. Her and Starfire, more so Starfire than her, have that moment that I've actually seen shared on Twitter and stuff a lot since it happened. And people are like, "Oh, I ship this." Already, people are saying they ship Starfire and Jessica Cruz together. I don't know if it's for wholly pure reasons, but there we go. But when Starfire goes to grab Jessica to save her, she says, "Who? Whoa, you're not Brainiac." And Starfire says, "We do not have time for flattery, Jessica Cruz." But yeah,
I am so used to seeing Starfire on Teen Titans Go now. It's hard for me to see an adult human-looking Starfire.
You should see this. You should see the statue I have of Starfire.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm just saying that's when it comes to that character I think and Raven have just been permanently corrupted as far as me being able to see them in any kind of adult. And if that didn't kill it, seeing the hooker version on the DC WB show.
Oh man,
that definitely makes me want to go back to Teen Titans Go.
No, I got that Koto Bukiya version of Starfire. It's a statue technically, but it's more made of, I don't know, plastic / resin maybe. It's overly sexualized, but the way the sculpt is, the way the hair is, the way the paint job looks and everything, it was just almost impossible for me to pass up because it's made of plastic-ish sort of material. It was much cheaper than your average sort of statue. And since I really like Starfire and everything, I didn't really care too much. And plus, Starfire's costume has always been sexualized, so it's not like they took an existing character that I enjoyed and then created a new costume to make her overly sexualized. So I had to get it. I just sent you an image of it.
I'm looking at her. Yeah.
See?
She's hot.
She's hot. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, the paint job, the sculpt, the way the hair is like whipping around both her and the statue. It was just so cool looking that it must have been like $35-$40, something like that. Maybe more, but it couldn't be much more than that. But anyways, so back on track. I have no personal ties to Cyborg. I get they've been trying to amp up interest in Cyborg ever since Rebirth started with that first Justice League series. And it's just, I still don't care. I don't mean that bad. I know Vic has been around since long before the New 52. He's a staple member of the Titans and all this stuff. But I don't care when I see him in other media. I don't care when I see him in the comics. Maybe the closest I've ever come to caring is the brief amount of time he would spend in like the Young Justice cartoon. It's just I don't have too much interest in Vic, and I don't know why that is. So it helps that I'm being drawn in by Starfire, who's already one of my favorite characters, and Jessica Cruz, who's a Green Lantern who I'm already paying attention to. Like I said earlier, I don't really care too much about Azrael. I don't have necessarily a bad experience with him, but I just never got Azrael. So that's sort of my objection to him. And as for Darkseid, I'm curious about this quote unquote new Darkseid. But is that curiosity enough to carry me? Is my fandom of Starfire enough to carry me? Is my interest in Jessica enough to carry me? Or will I be keeping up with this book purely because I have a Green Lantern podcast that I co-host with you? You know what I mean? Is this going to be yet another book I read just to stay relevant and keep up on the details so we can talk about it?
I don't know if that should be a great motivating factor for you. But in all seriousness, clearly I understand what you're saying. Of course, we don't know if any of the events of this book are going to have any relevance as far as Jessica Cruz. Whatever Jessica Cruz's role will be going forward in relation to Green Lantern books. Assuming that, again, we keep assuming there's going to be a second book. So I don't know. But there is something about this story that just cries out trade paperback, a graphic novel.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I was just going to say I don't know. I'm intrigued, but at the same time, I don't necessarily know if this is something I would feel overly compelled to add to my pull list, as opposed to just waiting till the story is over with and then just reading it together.
Right. Well, I mean, I'll tell you this. The first issue, from a storytelling perspective, from pacing perspective, I have no issues with it. It didn't feel like they wasted any panels. It didn't seem like they were already trying to drag things out, so on and so forth. But then you switch over to the art side. And like I said, I really enjoy the art. So thus far, it's enough to make me curious to see where issue 2 is going to be. So it's already past that issue 1 test. It's just I'm already seeing the things that have me interested as sort of flimsy. It needs to really keep the momentum into issue 2, issue 3, because I know a lot of people out there, when they're trying a new series, they'll more than really should only give it the first issue. In my personal opinion, you should at least give a series 2 issues before you completely cut it off. My rule of thumb is 3. I give it 3 issues to find its footing before I decide I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to waste the money, so on and so forth, to keep up with this series. So this one, I mean, it's got to keep the momentum. If it keeps the momentum, if it keeps the quality of storytelling, if it keeps the great art, without the artist feeling rushed, and he shouldn't, because he's got a regular monthly title instead of a bi-weekly title like most other people, then I feel like as long as that characterization and the interactions move forward, like you said, the ties between Starfire and Cyborg are there. The ties between Cyborg and Jessica are there. The ties between Cyborg and Darkseid are there. Azrael's sort of the wild card. We already see some chemistry building between Jessica and Starfire, so it's just a matter of seeing if like that, other than suggesting some sort of tension between Corey and Jess, is there anything else there? So I'll give it a few more issues, but I really did enjoy this first issue. The cover is not my favorite, but again, I'm not one that likes a lot of negative space in backgrounds. I understand what they're doing with this whole team image, that splash. A lot of team books do that. Hell, a lot of movie posters now do that, where they throw everybody on the front in this sort of stacked pyramid sort of way with a cool splash behind them. But this particular one, I wasn't 100% a fan of this cover.
No, it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything special. I don't like the variant cover all that much either.
Yeah.
I mean, Jessica looks cool. Starfire doesn't quite look like Starfire at all. Azrael looks cool too. Cyborg looks like a caricature, and I'm not really digging Darkseid. But yeah, actually, Cyborg on the main cover looks weird, but he kind of looks interesting.
Yeah, a lot of detail there.
Yeah, it looks almost like snakeskin more than metallic or riveting or things. But yeah, he looks good. I think that part. So I definitely like the traditional cover, the regular cover more, but it's not it just makes you think evil Darkseid is what it makes you think of.
Right. Right.
Which is, I think, to be fair, we're always going to think that because we know that's where he's going to end up.
Are you going to keep up with this series?
I would certainly consider it. I can't. Okay. I'm not 100%. When does the next issue come out?
October 24th, I think. I'm pretty sure.
I would consider it. I would consider adding that on, especially since
Odyssey number 2.
Since I'm really not getting much these days.
Yeah, on sale October 24th. All right. Is there anything else about this you wanted to say before we moved into our other topics for the evening?
No, but it was enjoyable. I liked it more than I would have suspected I would have.
Okay, cool. And for those of you who listened to our prior episode where we were talking about what we were covering next, we did mention Supergirl. That is still on the docket. We will be covering Supergirl. Not Supergirl, the entire series, but that particular arc in Supergirl, because we decided to wait until at least, I believe it's issue 23, comes out to see if the Green Lantern side of things is resolved in that issue, rather than just leaving on a cliffhanger. from issue 22. But for those of you playing along at home, that would be Supergirl 21, 22, and then the upcoming, as we record this at least, Supergirl number 23. So if you want to pick those up, or if you're already picking them up and want to reread them when you listen to that episode, when that ends up coming out, just FYI, that's what we'll be covering. What's next on the list?
When do you want to do you want to? We have two. I think we have two choices. We could either do the feedback now or do it at the end. The end is where we usually do it. So if we're not going to do that, then why don't we? I say we do the feedback now. That's what I was. Good, because that's why I mentioned it, because I actually was kind of leaning towards that now. But I know. But sometimes
since she took the time, let's not save her till the end. Let's get her right now in the middle of the show.
All right, so I'll read this one. This is from Laurel, one of our loyal listeners. So this is about our last episode. So she was pretty timely.
Mm-hmm.
So episode 337 is the subject. So I was like, hi guys, just a quick note about episode 337. Can't believe you covered the horrible issue 47. Years ago, I managed to somehow get the issues where Coast City was destroyed and then Emerald Twilight, but issue 47 was missing. For years, I wondered what was in that issue. I thought it must be something significant since Green Arrow was in it. Well, you can imagine how disappointed I was when I finally got a copy. However, laughing along with you about how bad this issue was made for a fun episode. Best wishes, Laurel.
Oh, yay. Yeah, thanks. First of all, thanks for the email.
Yes.
We've been saying it almost ad nauseum at every closing for the past several episodes that we have not been getting email or voicemail feedback. And we really we're almost yelling at you and chiding you to send in your feedback. And thank God that we got that email from Laurel. But yes, it's just overall a bad issue. I liked some of the art because it's early Scott Collins stuff. It's just, I said it in that episode. It's just such a departure. I mean, Coast City is just destroyed and he's pissed off at Mongol, and you're not only dealing with that, but also the return of Superman is happening at this time, which everybody and their mother was reading. The death of Superman, the funeral for a friend, return of Superman, the reign of Superman, all that stuff, yourself included.
Yes.
But I mean, everybody was reading at least Superman titles at that time. So, I mean, we were all just being, I say we as a comics fan.
Yes.
Yeah, we as a comics community, which I wasn't a part of at the time. But I imagine the comics community at the time was being bombarded with right hooks and left hooks and uppercuts like every week that a new comic would come out. So the fact that 47 comes out in the middle of all of this crap and suddenly decides to wrap up the plot points of this weird Carl Ferris robot thing and the GL toy line and have Flicker as a villain and so on and so forth is crazy enough. But then retroactively, you then make the next story arc freaking Emerald Twilight. When you stick this random holy F, what is this story? One issue story between Death of Superman, Funeral for Friend, Reign of the Superman, Return of Superman, and Emerald Twilight. How are we supposed to care about anything happening in issue 47 as written?
Yeah, I would say it's not that issue, as we know, because we read it and we read it and we viewed it as by itself, trying to put it in without putting it in context of how things played out. But that issue, no matter, even if it wasn't really bad, though it is, but even if it wasn't, it was destined to be viewed a certain way and not in a good way, just because now it sticks out like a sore thumb. Because you have that great Green Lantern 46, which we also will be covering soon. It's kind of to go hand in hand with the wrap-up of Green Lanterns and Cyborg Superman in Coast City. It seems like it's kind of a good time to do that issue. That Yeah, that huge issue, which a lot of people bought because, again, everybody was reading Reign of the Superman, so of course that was a Green Lantern crossover. Yes, you didn't need to read that issue because it didn't really factor into, Coast City was already destroyed, and it didn't really factor into Superman coming back like in Superman 82. But it was good to see what was. It was kind of like, oh, this was going on in the other part of Engine City.
Well, no, it's not just that. It's like when Coast City is destroyed. Like, that's a huge moment. I mean, it's literally a double-page spread, isn't it?
Oh yeah, in the Reign of the Superman story itself, because that issue, technically speaking, the issue before kind of, I think, revealed Cyborg Superman being the bad guy, but you still had that shock. You still had that, but you had the fallout from Coast City being destroyed after that issue, and then you had when the Eradicator got sucker punched, but got blindsided and blasted and everything, and how he ended up being blamed for the destruction of Coast City when it was real.
Well, no, I mentioned it because if anyone was going to read something outside of the main series in terms of a tie-in issue, Coast City being destroyed almost guarantees everybody's going to be looking for a Green Lantern tie-in to that.
Right, and I was speaking more if, like me at the time, if you didn't have a huge tie to Green Lantern, so you didn't have a lot of background on associating Coast City with Green Lantern and everything else.
Okay, gotcha.
You still would be likely to pick that book up just because it was a Reign of the Superman tie-in, not that it was critical moving the Superman story forward, but it was important. But now, because you have Green Lantern 46 being so important and having a lot of people read it, and now we know what Emerald Twilight actually turned out to be, that 47 just looks like what? Okay, this makes no sense. It's almost like you put an asterisk on it and say this story takes place before. Change a few panels and say this story takes place before the destruction of Coast City. Just because it doesn't make any sense. Now, if we had gotten the original Emerald Twilight, then it probably wouldn't be as much of a change. The beat being off wouldn't be as noticeable.
Right.
But like I mentioned last week, that's part of the reason that's part of the reason the context now is part of the reason why I wanted to do that issue. Not just because it's kind of like comically bad in certain points, but based on the history of the title and the history of the character, it's unique just because of the way it does one of these things is not like the other. That Green Lantern 47 is the one between 47 and between 46 and 50 that does not belong whatsoever.
Yeah. But thanks again, Laurel, for writing in. We really appreciate the email. Keep them coming. Do you have any questions or comments? We'd love to read them on air or hear them on air if you want to leave us a voicemail.
That is true. She hasn't done that yet, has she?
I don't think so.
It's possible she did, but I don't think so.
It's been a while since we had a voicemail, so it's hard to remember.
Come on, Corbin, you're slacking off.
That almost guarantees we're getting at least one.
Give us some thoughts on Sinestro or something. We'll gladly talk about that.
All right, what's next?
Why don't you talk? You've actually been posting a few things in discoveries or rediscoveries about certain things on Netflix. So why don't you segue into your stuff first?
I've watched so much recently. It's hard to remember what I watched. So the other day I watched Constantine again. I want the movie Constantine, which actually inspired me. I'm going to rewatch the originals. That series that they canceled because I have that on Blu-ray. So. Partly because the concept got reintroduced to me, and I was like, God, this was such a good idea. And then I just started thinking of how well Matt Ryan, that's his name, right? Matt Ryan, the actor?
I think it is.
Yes. How well Matt Ryan looked like Constantine, acted like Constantine. It was such a good thing. But so I'm watching Constantine because, I've seen it several times, but I hadn't seen it in a long time. And I'm doing some stuff around my apartment. So I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to have it as almost background noise, but something to pay attention to when the action kicks up and so on and so forth. So the movie ends. Scrolls are the credits are rolling, and I don't want Netflix to keep showing me continue watching, so I'm gonna let the credits roll out to the end. Well, it ends. The credits end, and then there's a scene after. I've never seen this scene before. I don't know if it was in theaters like this, or if it was even on the initial DVD release, or if it was something that became a part of a special edition later on. I don't know. But Constantine is walking up to Chaz's grave, which is Shia LaBeouf's character who dies. And he's like, he placed like a pack of cigarettes or something on the grave or something, and on the headstone. And as he walks away, he hears like a flap or something. He turns around, and Chaz is an angel sitting on top of his grave. And then he like looks up and smirks or smiles at Constantine, and then shoots up into the sky. And I was just like, what?
I'm pretty sure that was in a theatrical release.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, Constantine is so far, I mean, not super far, but it's before we're used to after the credit scenes in movies. So I never knew this thing existed. Did you know it was around, like, even when the movie initially came out? Or?
Oh, I don't know if I knew going in. I'm sure I didn't know going in that it was there, but I do remember seeing it, and I'm pretty sure I've only seen that movie from beginning to end once, and I remember that. I remember that movie. Here's a not so cute little story. I remember that movie, seeing it vividly in the February that it came out, because I was that night while I was sitting in the theater, I was in the midst of there was a whole seriously bad stomach bug going around at that time. And actually, I think my grandfather had a stroke, and he was in the hospital, and he got it while he was in the hospital, and he kept spreading it throughout all of us, and it hit me. I started getting the first signs of that, the nausea started hitting me while I was seeing that movie. So when I got home that night, pretty much literally all hell broke loose. But so I kind of do remember that I do remember that seeing that movie vividly in the whole night for that reason. But yeah, I don't think I knew anything about it. I think we just stayed or whatever, and I do remember seeing that scene. That's why when you first started talking about the after credit scene, even now, I'm thinking to myself, is he talking like I think it was at the graveyard or something, and he's talking about it, and I was pretty sure it had to do with Shia, and it was like, yeah. So I would bet that was on the theatrical. Yeah,
because I looked it up, and evidently in the novelization, yes, there is a novelization for the Keanu Reeves Constantine film. If you guys are looking for that, he actually appears twice, so that's interesting in there. I didn't read much further than that, but evidently Angel Shia appears a couple of times in the novelization, so that was interesting.
Back long before he was hated so much, and before his whole life went to shit.
Oh, dude, you know I'm gonna play that song at the end of the episode. You know what I'm talking about?
I believe so.
Hiding in the shadows, serial killer or something like that. Human cannibal or something. Shia LaBeouf. Yeah, whatever. You'll hear. It's been a while since I heard it. It'll be in the credits. Enjoy.
Enjoy. What was the other movie that you hadn't seen before? There was something you hadn't seen before.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
That's the one.
I'd never seen it. When it was coming out, Dan Kurtzky was super into it because he really enjoys all the comics, or I guess it's more appropriate to refer to it as manga, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, all the Scott Pilgrim manga. And then the movie was coming out, and he kept saying, we should see it, or whatever. I had no interest in it. I had no connection to it. So I didn't go see it in theaters. And then, it's been out on DVD and Blu-ray and stuff for a long, long time. Several years now. And it was just never one of those movies that popped up anywhere. Like you're over at a friend's house and they have a DVD collection. Or like, well, what should we put on while we're all hanging out? In that situation, you throw on like I don't know why, but our group is partial to, like, depending on the level of intoxication in the room, some people will be like, let's throw on T2, Terminator 2, Mike, I try not to throw my suggestion in too much because it'll get oversaturated and people get sick of it. But I've fallen into this rhythm of every now and then I'll suggest the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. You got people with this good level of buzz going, and then this nostalgic movie comes on with the Turtles, and they start quoting the movie back and forth. You know, it was just never one of those movies that was just in someone's house. They're like, oh, what? Let's watch this. So it popped up onto Netflix the other day, and I was just like, never seen it. Got nothing better to do. I guess I'll put it on and see what all the fuss is about, because I did see a bunch of people on social media saying Scott Pilgrim's on Netflix. So I was like, all right, I'll take advantage. And I watched it, and man, that is a bonkers movie. Like, it wasn't bad. And I definitely have a crush on the chick, but like, it was super unique. You know, you got Chris Evans in there and Brandon Routh in there and all that stuff. So it's just like, wow. Okay. Brie Larson's in there. Aubrey Plaza's in there. I didn't expect to see her. So yeah, it was just an interesting, weird little flick. And I'm glad I saw it, because I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
No, I'm trying to think if there's. In my mind's eye, I think there is something. Like,
is there a crazy other movie that's similar, like a Tron, or maybe like
Tron's different.
Well, what about God? What else would be sort of weird and out there like this?
Maybe
Battles.
Maybe Speed Racer.
I've never seen Speed Racer. You're talking about the newer one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speed Race. Yeah. If you haven't seen Speed Racer, you should watch that because visually that's. I'm trying to remember if that's free on Netflix. It's free on. I think it is. I think it might be on Netflix now. You should take a. But yeah, visually, Speed Racer is very, very unique. And that's what I remember about. And I don't know if I've ever sat down and watched Scott Pilgrim from beginning to end in one sitting. I think I watched almost all the movie, but I think I watched it at different times. And it's in my queue too. One of these days, like a lot of other things. Hopefully, one of these days I'll be in the right mood at the right time to sit and watch it. But I think, yeah, when it comes to mine, I think kind of unique stylistic movies. You know, Scott Pilgrim is kind of like that. I definitely think Speed Racer's like that. Obviously, Sin City was kind of like that. 300 was kind of like that. So there are movies that kind of have their unique look to them. But yeah,
I was thinking like maybe the Ang Lee Hulk version with all the.
That's another good one. The Ang Lee Hulk one is another one since it's shot so much like a comic book with panels and different things like that. Yeah, so that's another good one. And I think there's others too, but those are the only. But my wheel, as soon as you said that, my wheels were turning, and those are the first things that popped into my head.
And I didn't mention this to you earlier, but I also watched the other day as a super background movie. Like I was trying to fall asleep movie, but I was just too awake to fall asleep just in general, so I ended up watching the whole thing. Journey to the Center of the Earth.
I do like that movie. I like the second one was this one with The Rock and Vanessa Hudgens was better, I think, but the first one was because you were talking about the what's his face, the
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, Brendan Fraser one. Yes.
Yeah. And the chick that he runs into was super attractive.
Yes.
Blonde Icelandic chick or whatever. Yeah. But anyways, so I was watching that and I was just like, man, this is good. And Brendan Fraser's not bad in it. It's just, you know, you can tell almost like he's acting towards the sort of movie he knows it is. He's not giving his 110% to this thing. It's very clearly not meant for him to just go all out.
Well, there were low expectations for that movie. That movie overachieved at the box office. I don't think anybody really thought it was going to do anything. I think it also helped that it was in 3D, and 3D was still on the way up at that time.
Yeah. But it got me interested in, like, God, I haven't seen The Mummy in forever. So I went on Netflix and I searched for The Mummy. None of the Mummy movies are on Netflix, but guess what is on Netflix? Scorpion King 2.
Oh yeah, they've had other Scorpion Kings. It's not the first one either. Not the one with the Rock. They've actually had a lot of the countless knockoffs with 8,000 different people playing Matthias or whatever. Yes, I've never watched one of them. The only one I've ever seen was the original Scorpion King.
Yeah, I would like to see the original Scorpion King. I don't think the original Scorpion King is a fantastic movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a great action flick. And The Rock definitely delivers in it, but I mean, I am not interested in seeing Scorpion King 2 again.
There's when you have sequels that get so watered down, or actually we have to be technically correct. All these things really aren't sequels; they're prequels. That's what makes it even worse. As all these other Scorpion King movies, I believe they all take place before we met The Rock as Matthias in the first Scorpion King movie. So it's like, which of course even the original Scorpion King movie is technically a prequel, because the first time we saw him was after he turned to evil in The Mummy 2. Oh God, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Yeah, I wanted to see The Mummy super bad, and I was just like, oh God, well, that sucks. But anyways, so there's that. What else is on the Rocket docket?
Speaking of The Mummy, I know the Tom Cruise one has been on HBO, but I've yet to. I barely watch regular TV other than sports, so I have not made a concerted effort to go through to see when it's on, because I certainly was never going to pay for it when it was in the theater, but I would not mind actually sitting down and at least watching it. I watched your movie Wrinkle in Time.
Oh, okay. What'd you think of that? And now keep in mind, I did tell everybody after seeing it, it is very clearly a kid's movie. You're not going to walk away being amazed at this film. But if you like the books as a kid and go in knowing it's a kid's movie, the visuals are pretty awesome.
The visuals are good. I would say from a special effects perspective, wow, man, it's got like two stars like on IMDb. Its rating is 4.2 out of 10.
Let's not talk about reviews right now.
Well, yeah, I had that on my docket too, by the way. The reality is, I did not like it particularly well. I thought I don't know if that was a coherent sentence. I didn't think much of it. I thought Meg was all right. I thought Meg was all right. I know it's part.
Oh, the actress that played Meg did a great job.
Yeah, I know it's the character. It's not. But again, the character itself is not overly appealing in that movie. But it's not. It doesn't mean she's not acting well. It just means that she's not. It's the nature of it. It's who the character is. So trying to look from the outside looking in here. I mean, I thought Calvin was likable as a character.
Calvin was.
Charles Wallace, before he became Darkseid, Charles Wallace was likable. I did like both Chris Pine and Gugu Mbatha-Raw. I thought they did a nice job as the parents. I actually like Galifianakis. Damn it! I was all ready to get his name right too.
Zach Galifianakis.
Yes, him. I actually thought he was quite good in that movie. Kind of like playing. In a way, you would think he's not really playing against type, but he kind of was playing against type. But I liked him. I thought, and it was interesting seeing Rowan Blanchard be a bully. But since I'm used to her from Girl Meets World, but it was okay. It was, and actually Michael Pena was pretty good in that, in his role too. It was good. I didn't think it was great. I somehow suspect they could have made a better version of that movie. But
yeah.
It took me a couple of sittings, because I started watching it, then I fell asleep, not on purpose either. It wasn't a go to sleep movie, and then I finally picked up where I left off, and it's like, okay, so it was all right. Like you said, if you're a fan of the book, I would recommend seeing the movie. If you're not a fan of the book, you're not missing a lot if you don't see it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I'm still irritated that they elected to not put the twins in the movie, because the Wrinkle in Time story has nothing to do with the twins. So what is there to be lost if you did put them in? So Charles Wallace and Meg have two brothers that they're not geniuses like Charles Wallace, and Meg is sort of a social outcast, whereas the boys are more, they're the middle children. They're sort of jockish, sort of smart. They have the smarts, but they downplay it a bit. They're almost background characters in the book. What is to be lost in your narrative by not just mentioning or showing that there are two other kids in the house? I mean, you could have easily set yourself up for sequels in the future. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I think there's going to be a sequel to Wrinkle in Time? Probably not. But it depends. I mean, how much of its budget did it make back, and so on and so forth. But I mean, by not putting the twins in there, you're pretty much effectively cutting off every future story in the Madeline L'Engle story books that has anything to do with Denny's and Sandy's. So why would you cut yourself off at the heel like that?
Yeah, I agree. Other than, again, they don't want to be probably locked into casting roles. They didn't want to be locked into casting characters that were not going to necessarily be important for a while, when they could very well just cast them down the road. That probably was the thinking. Plus, maybe they wanted to streamline this as much as they could. I'm looking at the worldwide box office for Wrinkle in Time was not even $133 million. So you could pretty much take it to the bank. This movie's not getting a sequel because with the budget, there's almost no way that this movie doubled its production budget on any level. So that's pretty much it's foreign box office. It's sad. I mean, domestic was sad, but foreign. But you could kind of maybe see because it's not it. That is, it's a book that you would think wouldn't have necessarily a huge built-in appeal overseas. Mm-hmm. So as an original story, it's probably didn't draw enough people in visually to make people interested in and let's be honest, the real tie to this, almost like the Narnia stuff, the real tie is if you have ties to the book or you know of the material. If you don't know of, and if you don't fall into either of those categories, it's probably not going to appeal to you. So I watched Wrinkle in Time. I watched staying on Netflix. I watched Hold the Dark, which is a weird movie. You should watch it. It's weird. Supposedly it's really faithful to its source material, which is also very weird. But it's a strange, very very strange movie, and you don't get a lot of answers to what's really going on here. But Jeffrey Wright from Westworld and other things, he's really good in it. So I did like it. I think that came on last weekend, and I finally watched it after I fell asleep on that too, which is par for the course when I start watching something like after midnight. Flatliners. The remake of Flatliners is free currently on Prime because it must be on Stars, and that's usually the way it works for them. So I actually watched that. And I don't have a huge tie to the original Flatliners. Obviously, I've watched almost all of it. Again, that might be a movie I've watched in sittings, different parts of it at different times. And I know the basic story, obviously. It wasn't bad. I mean, the cast was okay. I mean, it wasn't exactly an A-tier cast by name. Ellen Page, other than Kiefer Sutherland's cameo, a glorified cameo in the movie. Ellen Page is the main star. And I knew she looked familiar, like Kirstie Clemens, who was supposed to be Iris in the Flash movie, and in Justice League, and I think in the Flash movie, and maybe she still will be, but as of now, that she was the one who was cast, I believe, to be. Actually, I know she was cast. Whether that ever sees the light of day or not is another story. But Flatliners is pretty interesting. I just noticed by luck of the draw that Jigsaw apparently is free again on Amazon Prime. I say again because a few months ago, by luck of the draw, they had an unrated version of Jigsaw, which was free. Then they had the normal version you had to pay for. But within like a day or so of me telling a few people, hey, Jigsaw's free, then then the unrated version was off and the normal version was free, was paid for again. But now I just happen to put it on in the TV in the living room, the smart TV, and and it looks like that's free. So, and for me, which kind of relates to your, this is why the last thing for Netflix I'll mention. I know the original Pirates of the Caribbean is back on, and
I saw that the other day.
Which I love. That's one of my favorite go-to sleep movies. I tend, because I like a movie that's long enough where if for some reason I can't fall asleep, I can watch a decent amount of it, and then not where like this is like an hour and 20-minute movie. If I don't fall asleep in the first like 50 minutes, it's not really going to do me a lot of good probably. So I just love that movie in general, but I thought of it anyway because you were talking about the Constantine, and that you never knew about that credit scene. And I think I may have mentioned this on the show before, but back in the day, my friend Christine and I, this was when Dead Man's Chest came out, and we were watching like Dead Man's Chest, and they have the beginning of the movie on the ship when Jack the monkey like is running around, and Jack takes out his pistol and he shoots him, and then he keeps running around, and she can't really figure out, and she has no context. Like, why is the monkey still undead? And I said, well, he picked up the coin at the end of the first movie. And it's like, what are you talking about? It's like, there's an after credit scene at the end of the original Pirates in which Jack the monkey goes back and picks a piece of the Aztec gold back out of the chest, and that's why he becomes cursed to be undead again. So it's like that's what it reminded me of. It was like, really? It's like, yeah. So then we threw that in the DVD player, and we fast forwarded to the end after the credits just to see Jack the monkey go pick up that one coin out of the chest. So. But I do love that movie. The first movie's so good. It's really hard to watch a lot. I can appreciate almost all the other movies to a certain extent, but that first movie was so good. The original was so good. It's kind of, and the original Johnny Depp performance in that movie that was really. Yeah, so,
I've got a couple other movies on my queue list I haven't seen before that a lot of people would maybe give me shit for not having seen. I've got Heat, and I've got Donnie Darko.
Yeah, we talked about those. Heat.
Yeah.
I have Donnie Darko. It's really weird. I have the sequel. I have S. Darko, Samantha Darko. They did a sequel about his sister, her character, which is of course equally weird. Maybe not equally, but it's still weird. Donnie Darko's it's a movie. It's cool to watch. I mean, it is hard to kind of like make. Don't expect to completely understand everything that's going on in it, of course. But Heat's a good one to watch. And let's see. I think for me right now, off the top of my head, those are the ones that there was something. I mean, there was something else that I watched, but I don't know if it was a big name movie. But I'll try to make a list because it's always cool, especially depending on to compare things that we're watching or recommend movies. So now that we talked about that, and you said don't talk about ratings. Yes, the one thing we can definitely say about Venom is that we know it's not going to be a critical success.
Yep.
29% as we speak.
I don't care. I'm going to go see it. I have faith in this movie until I walk out of the theater. I will fully admit to anything that somebody brings up that I happen to agree with. I'm not going to go in with blinders on and just walk out of that theater flatly refuting any negative things someone says about that film. But it's Venom, and I'll be 100% honest with you. From the moment it was announced, part of me was like, even if it's bad, so long as it's better than Spider-Man 3, I'll be happy. Because I've said before on the show, and I'll say it again right now in case anybody's never heard me to say this, I refuse to rewatch Spider-Man 3 because of that effing portrayal of Eddie Brock, not just Venom, Eddie Brock and Venom.
Which is too bad because that is also on Netflix.
I refuse. I was personally hurt and insulted by that portrayal. That would be one of those things where, like, I'd be, if like I was on the internet as prominently back then as I am now, I could have done something stupid in my youthful rage, as some of the people today are doing in their adult times, of going and complaining to the directors and harassing the actors and actresses online and so on and so forth. Freaking what's his name? It's not Tobey Maguire. What's his name? Topher Grace. Topher Grace would would have had to leave Twitter or whatever MySpace. So Topher Grace would have had to leave MySpace because of my wrath at that point in time when I initially saw that movie. So, yes. I mean, so Venom has a low bar to hurdle over for me. But I mean, quite honestly, when you look at the very least the trailers alone, let's say the movie itself never ended up coming out, all we had were the trailers. The trailers are already a better Venom trailer for me than Spider-Man 3. So it's not like it's going to really, really damage the character for me.
No, I get it. I will be curious I will be very curious to see. Number one, how much it actually ends up making this weekend. I will also be very curious to see how the fans react to the movie. I am curious to see. I want to see if this is gonna be one of those instances where the critics and the fans are completely on two different views, two different worlds when it comes to their thoughts on the movie, or is this going to be kind of like Justice League, where they kind of like are a lot more in sync. It'll be, yeah. I'm curious. But let's be honest. We knew Venom the reviews were going to be bad because of the fact that the embargo went on so long. The fact that
Sunday night
it was even later than that. I mean, people started talking about their reviews, but I mean, as far as if you look on Rotten Tomatoes, that I think it was if it wasn't today, it was yesterday that they actually first started accumulating scores on Rotten Tomatoes. So it might have been today, but not. It was no, or I think earlier, than yesterday on Tuesday. So you knew that was a bad sign, because simply put, if you have confidence in your movie, then you want those reviews to come out early because it pumps up the interest and the momentum and everything for your movie. And if you think your movie either sucks or you feel confident that the audience might like it but the critics are not going to like it, then you kind of hold back as long as you can because you don't want to impact negatively the box office and the enthusiasm for the movie. So we kind of knew that. So I mean. That's always the kiss. That's always the kiss of death when the review. So, yeah, I'm curious. Again, I'm going in with a low bar. So we'll see. But it is curious. It is curious to see how it opens up. Even if it opens up well, does it have any kind of legs whatsoever, or is it just going to drop like a stone next week and pretty much be one and done? How's it going to do? That's what I'm curious about, and I'm curious to see. And I'm also
some people were blaming the Lady Gaga fans for all the negativity.
That's like the latest bullshit about how it's the Russians, how it was the Russians that helped tank the Last Jedi reviews like on Rotten Tomatoes. Give me a goddamn break. People really need to like live in the real world and stop coming up. I mean, there are times to think rationally about maybe about conspiracies and say, this would make sense for this reason and for that reason. It's like, really? You think the Russians really have nothing better to do than to, pardon my language, to fucking tank the reviews of Last Jedi? Come on! And let's be honest, considering how strongly people still feel about that movie, some positive, many more negative as far as how fervent people I think are. So far after the movie's come out, getting close to a year now, it's not, come on, just accept that the movie is divisive. Let's just move on.
Speaking of Venom, tomorrow, which is Thursday as we record this, so you guys will be hearing this if you listen to it when it comes out Friday. So for you, yesterday, welcome to the world of podcasting. I'll be hyping a YouTube video I released on our YouTube channel because I'm a fan of Venom and because I don't have a ton of money. I decided to invest in one thing related to the film or somewhat tangentially tied to the film so that I could show part of my support. And For those of you who are familiar, subscription boxes are a huge thing. There's a subscription box for everything these days. And Funko, the maker of those pop vinyls that are all over the place anywhere you go in the geek world, has their own subscription box. And for a while they were handling it themselves, but now it's been passed over to Amazon. And I believe it's like $25.99 or $29.99, something like that, and free shipping. So I signed up for the Funko Marvel Collector Core box for September. And it's shipped on the 28th, and I got it in my hands and unboxed it. And why did I get it? Because it's Venom themed this time. So I got a Venom Marvel Collector Core box, and I unboxed it and did an unboxing for our YouTube channel. And the contents therein, you'll be able to see that. Of course, there's a pop because it's from Funko, but it's an exclusive Marvel Collector Core pop that you'll only get in the Venom Marvel Collector Core Funko box for that month. And because these subscription boxes have already shipped, you can't get them on Amazon again. You're going to have to go to a third party to get them, so try and search like eBay and stuff if you want it. But if you're curious about what was in the box and the shirt I'll be wearing to opening night tomorrow night, then go over to our YouTube page and check out that video, the Venom Marvel Collector Core unboxing. It'll also be posted on our Facebook and our Twitter, so you can find it there as well. So you can check out that link. But yeah, I will say this: the pop is a bobblehead. I'm not particularly a fan of the bobblehead when it comes to pops. The only time I will ever invest in a bobblehead is if you either A, can't get the sculpt any other way, or B, it's just a really, really, really cool sculpt. And the Venom exclusive pop for the Marvel Collector Core box is a really, really, really cool pop. So you're definitely going to watch that video. Want to watch that video to see what it looks like. And I swear I'm not just saying that to drive up traffic to the video or anything. So if you're curious, you really should. It's a really cool looking pop. Mark, you saw it. So without telling everybody for sure what's all in there and stuff, what did you think of the pop?
It's not bad. I mean, I was just actually reading some of the stuff on Amazon while you were talking. There certainly is some criticism compared to, I guess, what used to be in Collector Core boxes. I think people are not necessarily happy with either with the assortment or the way the products are being divvied up versus the old days. But I didn't think it was bad looking at what was in the box. I thought that was pretty cool. It's a really interesting decision in general why Funko has decided to do this, because even like the Smuggler's Bounty box for Star Wars, that's on Amazon too. Like right now, it's like Cloud City is the theme, which of course had no appeal to me whatsoever. I don't know exactly what's in that box because I didn't even bother Googling to see if the contents are if anything is. Well, the contents, if they're not out yet, they will be soon, because it says estimated ship date on the Cloud City box is October 28th. So if the full contents haven't been leaked yet, they're going to be soon. I guess it's easier if I want to. I guess in a way it's easier to manage instead of having to go with the Star Wars site. But I'd kind of given up on my. I had kind of given up on Smuggler's Bounty anyway. It would have to be a great theme for me to sign back up, and like. Which makes sense, like even yours. I mean, it's like it's hard. I mean, it's hard to just plunk down that money every month, no matter what it is. I immediately canceled after I got my box in the mail. Yeah, and I did the same thing when for the DC thing with the Green Lantern theme box that came out. But I had to sign up for that, then I had to cancel that. Oh, so you got it? I didn't know you got it. Yeah, I did. God, because I'm trying to. I'm going to wait a while because I know that box wasn't super huge, but I'm going to get that 3-pack of Funkos at some point. Well, maybe at some point I'll send it. I'll send it your way. It's not like I opened it. No. You clearly got the box because you wanted something. Well, but it's like a lot of things. I trust me. I've gotten a lot of stuff, and this is just part of it's who I am, but it also depends on the content. I would have to say, to be honest with you, of all the stuff that I've gotten in all my the collector's boxes, and I had Smuggler's Bounty from before it premiered, like with Force Awakens, all the way through. I think the Sith. I think the Sith box was the last one that I got. The one that had Darth Maul on the cover, which was a good box, by the way. It had a really cool Clone Wars version of Darth Maul. But I would probably say I've only kept like about half the stuff. I've probably given away half the stuff, either to you or to Jim or to my friend John, or when Chuck was alive, to Chuck. I still have a lot of pins and things, but like I gave Chuck all the patches that used to come in the Star Wars and the Smuggler's Bounty box. So I'm not saying 100%. I mean, if you can get it cheap and you get it, that's great. I'm just saying I don't necessarily have a huge tie to that 3-pack. I like Guy. The fact that Guy's in it is cool, but Kilowog, it's all right, and Chip is But I mean,
did you like the shirt that came with it?
Yeah, the shirt wasn't bad. I do actually have the shirt in my closet, so that by itself is a rarity, because most of the shirts I've gotten in those collector's boxes they never see the light of day as far as me ever taking them out of their package. Though I do have the one from the Death Star box from Smuggler's Bounty, which had almost like a set up like a title fight, like a battle on the Death Star with with Vader versus Kenobi. That one was cool. That one I have out.
The Green Lantern Power Battery stress ball that came with that was pretty cool when I saw it.
I have that at work. That I have at work.
That's pretty cool.
That was one of the cool things. And I'm trying to remember the other thing they had, which was like Sinestro and Hal or whatever it was. I forget what the hell they were.
I keep wishing someone would put out a box and put in a deflated beach ball with the Mogo print on it. Like that's got to be super cheap to produce, right? So.
Yeah, it's. But again, with these boxes, it's really hard to. It's kind of
because you get screwed over once, you're all of a sudden wondering where your money's going. So.
And depending on what the depending on what the service is, it might just be where you get too much of this. Like they have I was, and I'm going to resubscribe probably as we get closer to Christmas. I was signed up for Rescue Box, which is a pet box, and and a certain percentage of the money goes to take care of I think to feed homeless animals and things like that, give them their shots and things like that. So it's going to a good cause. And the boxes weren't bad. I mean, I would say it's around the same price. It's around 30. It's around close to $30 a month, and you specify a cat box or a dog box, whatever. So I get the cat box for the girls, and I've gotten some good stuff. I mean, most of the majority is you get sometimes you get some treats, and you get some toys, and you have a lot of stuff. You get a lot of catnip toys, infused toys, things like that. But I have so many cat toys. So that's one of the reasons why I kind of stopped it about maybe 3 months ago or so, just because it's I have enough surplus toys from the boxes. I already have a decent amount of stuff to give them for Christmas. So I figured I'll start this up again probably if not, I think I'll start it up again if maybe in November and just get the November box and maybe the December box, and then. But I'm actually looking at the contents of this the Green Lantern box. Geez, on Macari.com it's for $21.
Yeah, you got the Hal Jordan and Sinestro pint-sized heroes too.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. That I liked. That I did not open it, but I liked it, and I do like the squeeze ball. I like the 3-pack isn't bad. I wish it was some. It's me, so I it would have been cooler to me if you had even if they threw in Guy, if it was Atrocitus and St. Walker, that would be cooler to me than. But I know
some unique sculpts like a Guardian would be cool. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad. I mean I was not unhappy with that box. So they are cool. I mean it's like everything else, and I mean that's why I never bothered. I never liked knowing everything that was in the box. I didn't mind knowing some stuff that was in the box. I just didn't like knowing everything, because that's kind of like the surprise. You kind of like it's like opening a little blind pack or something. I mean, it's like sometimes it serves its purpose because it's a mystery and it's cool. Obviously, if there's only one thing that you liked, yeah, you wish you could tell which one it was or just order it, as opposed to blowing money on it. But yeah, so it's Dark Phoenix.
If we must.
We could pass it. We could roll that over to another show. I mean, because the odds are, assuming our Venom episode is next week, that we're going to need something else on anyway, because I don't think we're going to be talking for an hour on Venom, in all honesty. I don't think so.
Yeah, let's save Dark Phoenix, because I'm going to have to, I don't have the energy to care.
It was,
so
yeah.
If you want to preview of what Chad thinks of the Dark Phoenix trailer, there you go.
But I will say I do think it was better than the Apocalypse trailer.
Yeah, true.
Which I know that's
not hard to beat.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a very low bar. That's like saying, well, I'll take the punch in the arm because the last time I got kicked in the nuts, So it's like, yeah, that's a huge improvement, but it still hurts. So I was like, all right, so I think that's gonna be it then, right?
Yeah, that'll do it. If people want to send us some feedback like they did, like Laurel did, how do they do that?
LanternCast@gmail.com. The website is LanternCast.com. We are on Facebook and we are on Twitter, so you can use #GLCast to locate us on those. iTunes and Stitcher, whichever platform you listen to us on, please leave us a positive review. And last but not least, 708 Lantern is the voicemail. So let us know, Corwin. Let us know what you think. And so yes, probably Venom next. We know we still have the Supergirl thing will be coming up somewhere in the near future. We have Green Lantern 46 we want to do, and obviously probably Green Lanterns is just coming out. Or came out today. Which means we at least have another 2 weeks before the series ends. So probably
so we'll definitely be doing Supergirl before then. You want to do 46 to keep in with the theme of what's happening in Green Lanterns. We're definitely doing Venom next, and then I guess we'll pick something from the list.
Yeah, and probably I guess it's safe to say somewhere around the beginning. But this is still only the first week in October, technically. Either the end. Oh, and speaking of, we already know what the Halloween thing will be. So probably the first. I mean, if I had to guess, maybe the first release in November might be the Green Lanterns wrap up. Yeah.
All right.
Unless things get pressed and we decide to throw 46 into that too.
Well, if I get my press pass to the Alamo City Comic-Con, I will have some interviews to put out there. So that's some content we could have coming down the line too. But that's one of those things where they like to tell you like a week or two before if you're approved or not. So we'll see.
and then we had that pesky 10-year anniversary episode coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
We
do.
Yes, which will be very
fast.
Yes, faster than.
So speaking of sending us content, if you want to send us an email or voicemails about the LanternCast in general, how long you've been listening, what your favorite moments are, so on and so forth. Our 10-year anniversary is happening around mid-November, so there will be a big celebratory episode around then. So that's the 10-year anniversary for the show and the 5-year anniversary of me and Mark being on. So definitely send in those voicemails, send in those emails, so we have a bunch of fan content to read.
Yeah, that definitely would be cool, and it's gonna be big. No matter what we do, for us, it's big. The fact that this show's been on for 10 years, the fact that now Chad and I will have done it alone for 5. Obviously, Chad, you are kind of like the common thread here, last of the old, first of the new kind of thing. So your time on the show is going to be longer than anybody's really, even though we know Jim technically is still on fairly often. So other than Jim, because you have more of a presence on the show, he has more of a presence on the show now, certainly than anybody who was in the original creation of the show. But it's special. It'll be special for us because we now will be reaching the point where technically from an episodic release perspective that the show, probably only in that regard, that the show will be quote unquote more hours than theirs, just because we would have put out more content. that we would have been doing the show technically longer than they did the show. So that's kind of a cool milestone too.
Yeah, for sure. And our 400th episode is coming up relatively. I mean, not super soon, but
350
soon.
is coming up. 350 is coming up. 350 we won't be getting to until into next year.
Right.
But 350, and then, but at that pace, we could possibly get, depending how early we hit 350. Well, no, we definitely will do 375 in 2019. 400 might be another one that might end up, probably with spin-offs or other things. It might very well get rolled over into, just thinking about the math of it, because we don't put out an episode every week. We do a good job. We put out over 40 something episodes a year. So, but even allowing that, if we just hit 350 in the beginning of January, then that means that pretty much the whole year, even if we release proper episodes throughout the year, only that would get us close to 400 by the end of December. So it'll probably be another one where 400 will be like early 2020 probably. But still, not too shabby.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you next time, where we'll be talking about Venom.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
You're walking in the woods. There's no one around, and your phone is dead. Out of the corner of your eye, you spot him. He's following you, about 30 feet back. He gets down on all fours and breaks into a sprint. He's gaining on you.
Shia LaBeouf.
You're looking for your car, but you're all turned around. He's almost upon you now, and you can see there's blood on his face. My God, there's blood everywhere.
Running for your life
From Shia LaBeouf.
He's brandishing a knife,
It's Shia LaBeouf.
lurking in the shadows. Hollywood superstar Shia LaBeouf, living in the woods,
Shia LaBeouf.
killing for sport,
Shia LaBeouf.
eating all the bodies. Actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
Now it's dark, and you seem to have lost him, but you're hopelessly lost yourself. Stranded with a murderer, you creep silently through the underbrush. Aha! In the distance, a small cottage with a light on. Hope. You move stealthily toward it, but your leg! It's caught in a bear trap.
Gnawing off your leg,
Quiet, quiet.
limping to the cottage.
Quiet, quiet.
Now you're on the doorstep, sitting inside. Shia LaBeouf, sharpening an axe.
Shia LaBeouf.
But he doesn't hear you enter.
Shia LaBeouf.
You're sneaking up behind him, strangling superstar Shia LaBeouf, fighting for your life with Shia LaBeouf, wrestling a knife from Shia LaBeouf, stab it in his kidney, safe at last from Shia LaBeouf.
You limp into the dark woods, blood oozing from your stump leg. But you've won. You have beaten Shia LaBeouf.